So we are setting off on our very first inaugural drive on the 2023 Colorado Z71. Oh, this is super exciting. I don't know if you guys can tell because obviously you can't see my face. Extremely excited. If you guys haven't seen any other content or videos on this exact truck, make sure you go check out the channel for other videos, as I do have a full walk around and of course all the other stuff that I made a few months ago on the Colorado. Now I am going to be taking my normal loop with this truck. These are my first impressions, first time driving it. Shifts were really good, very smooth. Acceleration, of course, is effortless with the 2.7 in either of the higher output forms. Just to go over some of the specs about this truck, almost a fully loaded Z71 minus the spray and bed liner. So a little bit over 48,000 MSRP. Turbo Plus engine tune, does not have the high output option. Try to be quiet during some acceleration so you guys get an idea for the noise levels and how the engine sounds. But sounds very similar to that of the Silverado with the 2.7. Ride quality is very good over this rough pavement. Like I mentioned in my other video, the hood is a little bit, I wouldn't say obtrusive, but you definitely see it in your field of view as you're looking over the front. And I guess it's good that you see it, gives an idea of where the vehicle corners are, if you will. Yeah, the ride quality feels very good for a truck like this. Of course, a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter than that of the full size. So I'm going to take the truck mostly on my normal loop that I do of driving. We won't obviously get an idea for the MPG. I do have to say this menu that I'm trying to navigate here is a little bit on the clunky side. Use the steering wheel button. And I'm not exactly sure how to gain access to certain functions. So immediately right off the bat, some of the user interfaces, I will say this one is a little bit clunky. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing wrong about resetting the trip information for MPG, but nonetheless, that won't be a focus of this video. In terms of visibility, side visibility is good. There's no really issues there. The mirrors are a little bit on the smaller side, I have to say. You definitely see the rear haunches of the bedside in the truck. Yeah, the transmission, I have to say, shifts very smoothly. This truck has 31 miles on it, so of course it probably should. Braking performance is good as well. I really do like the leather wrap steering wheel in a lot of my vehicles. Feels nice. Controls are, I wouldn't say that ergonomic, but they're not unergonomic, or not ergonomic, if you will. We have the cruise control over here. And it's nice that it says right there, I don't know if you guys caught that, to switch in between adaptive and regular cruise control, you simply hold down the cruise control button for a few seconds and it will switch to manual cruise. That's something that you can do in a lot of vehicles. Power is very good, very good. It is interesting though that you can configure the 8-inch display. I don't know if you guys can see right now what it is, but it's basically just got my information I need and nothing I don't, not even a tachometer on there. So that is a little bit strange, but of course you can bring up all the gauges if you would like to have all the information, which traditionally I probably would leave it on the screen. But nice to see you can kind of configure it how you would like. Not as much as the 11-inch, which I have seen preview images for that say you can put the Google Maps integration up there, which would be awesome if you could do that here on the 8-inch, but unfortunately that does not seem possible. Here is my bumpy section of road I always like to test many vehicles on, so I'm excited to do so. Looks like we do have a little bit of a traffic jam. It is not the ideal time to be doing this. Now, I guess to just discuss some of the interior ergonomics while we're sitting in a little bit of traffic, I totally understand what people were saying, at least the one person who did comment about the center armrest in the Z71 being this rough texture material that you'll find throughout the dashboard as well as the door panels. This is not something that I would have put on the armrest. Given you do rest your elbow and arm on this frequently, it is a touch point you use like basically every day, every time you do drive the vehicle. And being the textured, it kind of digs into your elbow skin and your forearm here. So I could definitely see how that would be a sore point for me personally if I were to buy a truck like this. Now, if you guys know, the Canyon does have a smooth leather or leatherette material on it. So that is a big difference there in terms of the materials used throughout the dashboard. But I do agree with his comment about the armrest being a little bit on the rough side. Here is my bumpy road that I like to test vehicles on. Now, unfortunately, we're only going a little over 20 miles an hour. Colorado's soaking up the bumps without hesitation. Obviously, you feel the truck moving around, but it is still very smooth. Yeah, the throttle sensitivity and tuning is very good. I do like that. Make sure we are in normal mode. Now, obviously, it does feel like a truck a little bit, so the bumps are a little bit, you know, rough at times, but as a whole, it is very smooth. In terms of wind noise, it's not super windy outside currently. I think there's a slight breeze, but the noise levels are extremely quiet here on the interior. Tire noise is fairly minimal, although I can hear the all-terrains. I'm sure the mud terrains would be a little bit on the noisier side. Not unbearable whatsoever, though. I do want to test out the audio system since this one does have the Bose premium audio. I know a lot of people might have been curious about that and how the sound quality is. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'll put a little bit of a clip in there so you guys know what the sound quality is like. That thing gets extremely loud. That was like 80%, and it was like ear-piercingly loud. You can actually hear the center channel working because it is actually so close to the driver. You can see, you kind of hear the stereo kind of separation from side to side, including that center channel. But I gotta admit, Bose premium audio, certainly worth it, especially if you're getting a higher end truck. So I would personally check that box 100%. 100% approve of the Bose premium audio. Hopefully that gave you guys a little bit of an idea, but nonetheless, I think it's extremely loud, packs a punch, and I'll have to see how the bass stereo system is in the Colorado, but from people's comments, they say it's a little bit lackluster, not the Bose. Oh, that is much better than some of the other. So there's still paddles on the backside to change the favorites for the radio as well as adjust the volume, and actually adjusting the volume, it's much more quicker to respond. It's more tactile too than the Silverado. So it takes less time of holding the button down on the backside to increase or decrease the audio. Oh, that is much better than the Silverado. So big improvement there. It's just the small things in terms of the overall driving experience that make it feel like an overall complete vehicle. So it seems like GM is making improvements for sure. Now we are about to get on the interstate, do our very brief interstate jaunt with this truck. I'm sure it'll get up to speed with no issues. I'm mostly curious about the interior noise levels. Handling is very good, actually, you know, considering this is a truck on all-terrain tires. I said the same thing about the Silverado, actually, though. So both these trucks are very competent and handle very well for what they are on the road. Truck took a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of extra throttle input to downshift a couple gears, but nonetheless, you saw it got up to highway speeds, no issues. Very impressive, actually. Yeah, I mean, the 390 pound-feet of torque out of the 2.7 Turbo Plus is going to be plenty for most people. Of course, you can get the high output tune with the Turbo Plus engine option at any point in time, whether you want to order it out of the box or get it upgraded at the dealership at a later date. But yeah, overall, no complaints driving this truck so far. You can see at highway speeds, we are churning well under 2,000 RPM. We're actually 1,600, 1,700 RPMs, around 70 miles an hour. Very low. So yeah, as a whole, at highway speeds, very quiet, really what you would expect in a new vehicle these days. You can hear the wind noise, you can hear a little bit of tire noise, but it's not intrusive whatsoever. So I would say it passed that test in terms of my overall noise levels here on the inside just by the ear. Going around this sharp turn, a little bit of body roll, but again, to be expected. Now I am very interested to hopefully put the Colorado side by side by not only the last generation truck, drive them back to back, but also against some of the competition or current competition, because as we know, the midsize truck segment as a whole is going to be pretty much all new this calendar year into early next year, with the Ford Ranger as well as the Toyota Tacoma coming out with all new variants, like I said, later this year sometime, which will likely be out very early next year at the latest. So this is kind of the first mainstream truck, if you will, outside of the Nissan Frontier, which was heavily refreshed, I believe, for 2022. So that's been out for about a year now. But the Colorado is the first mainstream one, I would say, to get to market, along with the sister vehicle, the Canyon, which hopefully we can put these two side by side as well. But nonetheless, this is going to be interesting to see how much the Colorado takes the market by storm, if you will, because I think it drives very solidly. I'm very impressed with it so far, and interested to spend just a little bit more time with it to get my overall likes and dislikes with the truck. Although I do already have a few in mind, like that center armrest portion for sure, but you really have to spend a little bit more time with the vehicle outside of these first drives to get a genuine impression and feel for the overall vehicle, especially with things like MPG and some of the other driving characteristics. But nonetheless, my first impressions are extremely positive, and I could definitely see owning a smaller truck, mid-sized truck like this on a daily basis, even versus that of a full-size Silverado, even if the price differential isn't huge per se, $5,000, $7,000, $8,000, depending on how you spec the trucks. But nonetheless, I could see owning a mid-sized truck just for the size benefits on a day-to-day basis. This song goes well with GM maybe having a hard time shipping these Colorados out to dealerships. Okay, so we're actually in engine stop start mode now. Didn't even feel it, just saw the icon come up. Very smooth, again, very similar to that of the Silverado. Yeah, the shifts feel very smooth from this 8-speed revised Gen 2. I'm sure this transmission will be making its way into other products that use this version or a very similar version shortly by GM. But yeah, as we head back to the dealership, I'm really not sure what else to cover. Overall ergonomics feel okay here on the inside. I would say my knee is almost basically resting up against the center console here. So at least it is padded. That is something to note. However, it is using the same textured as the armrest. So if you're wearing shorts that don't come just past the knee, your knee might rub up against it and it might feel a little bit uncomfortable on the skin. So that is actually something I could see being another benefit of the Canyon. Driver's side, no issues there with my legs. The steering column comes out, I would say, just far enough for my seating comfort and seating position. I would maybe like to see it come out just another inch or two, but nonetheless, I say I am very comfortable. Yeah, I mean, there's really no other ergonomic things to discuss. Visibility is good all around. I would say the only potential blind spot is going to be over your shoulder to the passenger side. I wouldn't say there's any real blind spot here on the driver's side. Now, one thing I have seen in other vehicles that are brand new to the market, but it's something you'll easily learn as an owner, is the volume knob as well as your driver climate controls. They're such in close proximity and of similar size that you might find yourself adjusting the temperature when you're trying to adjust the volume. But overall, I am very happy with this first drive. I don't really have any complaints. Yeah, this is going to be a solid truck, one that sells quite well for GM. Let's go ahead and finish up this video parked next to a 2500 just for giggles. So yeah, that is my first drive of the 2023 Chevy Colorado Z71. Make sure you guys go check out the other video that I do have with this exact truck, doing a walk around and giving you my first hands-on impressions. But there's a look at the Colorado next to the 2500. Definitely a much bigger truck. Interested to see the 2024s, which just came in. There's actually a few sitting over there. But nonetheless, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, hit that like button if you guys enjoyed this video or found something helpful. Let me know what spec you ordered in the Z71, or if you guys have any other feedback based on the video that you just saw that I may have missed or want to know about the new Colorados, and I can do my best to answer those questions in future videos. But with all being said, once again, hope you guys enjoyed and found something helpful. Hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, hope to see you guys in the next one.